Alright, hello everyone, welcome to another video. Sorry if I sound different, I am a little bit sick right now, but you know what, I had nothing better to do, so I thought I'd make this video. So today, as you can see, we are ranking the sewer jam tracks. I'm gonna put this out there right now. This is one of my least favorite jams, so there will be a lot of negativity. Not intentional negativity, just the tracks are there's gonna be a lot of critiquing. It's not just gonna be praising the tracks, because they all have some flaws. But yeah, that's about it. Once again, these are the versions found on the Custom Track Jams Discord server, not on the wiki. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, for our last place track, we have Into the Mountain by Kevin, generally known as KHacker35000VR. This is a track. It's a track. That's the only way to describe it. This one originally placed 4th. Yeah, the texturing is very odd and weird. The theming is... it's a theme. It's just a very confusing one. Yeah, the minimap is broken, the track isn't fun, the track is confusing, it doesn't count laps. There's just not really that much good about this track, and I know it's being brutally honest, but it's true. Just a very unfinished track. Alright, so that is going to do it for Into the Mountain by KHacker35000VR. Alright, so for our 4th place track, we have Cheap Route to the Magic Show by Slippery Mac. This track originally placed 5th. So if you've never played or heard of this track before, it's basically just a shorter, more interesting, and better looking desert bus. Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, not the most fun track, because it's just a straight line, but it's still, I think and it's kind of sad that this one is above a track that's not just a straight line, but this one is a lot better visually, and it's a lot more interesting, and it, in some parts, plays better, to be honest, but yeah, that's just my take on this one. Yeah, that's gonna do it for Cheap Route to the Magic Show by Slippery Mac. Alright, so for our 3rd place track, we have Divine Tunnels by Toxic Prime. This track originally placed 3rd. Yeah, this track, it's interesting. It's kind of bland, to be honest, though. There's not much going on visually. The layout is interesting, but it's kind of boring and not really too inventive, to be honest. I don't really know which language this is in. I'm assuming it's one of the Asian languages, but it's in the shape of a character from one of those languages. Yeah, it's an interesting track. It's not the most fun track, not the best visually, but it's better than the other two, so that's why it's up here. Alright, that is going to do it for Divine Tunnels by Toxic Prime. Alright, for our 2nd place track, we have Delfino Drains by JDS. This track, it looks pretty good visually, it has some interesting theming, but this track, it does not play well at all. This track has the rising water, and part of it is a death zone, as seen right here, which is good. It's a good idea, but I feel like that's something that really hinders gameplay if you don't know what you're doing. I played this track before, so obviously I do know what I'm doing, but it's just, I just wanted to put that out there, because I think that that is a pretty big, hindrance to it, and you have to go up on here, which that's not really that good, and I'm not sure what you're supposed to do there either. I do like this track in some ways though, because it does have some unique split paths where, as you can see, down there you can't go down there anymore, as I've shown here. You have to go up there, and I think that's an interesting idea. The problem is with this part. There's so many long straightaways, and they last for way too long. It's not fun at all. And then there's this part where it looks like it could be a split path, but then you realize, oh shit, you can't go there. It's an interesting track. It's just, in my opinion, not the best. Alright, that's gonna do it for Delfino Dreams by JDS. Alright, so for our first place track, we have Upstream Raceway by Billy Noodles. This track, it did place first, and in my opinion, I know this is going to sound kind of mean, but it is the worst winning track of any jam. This track is just not that good for a winning track. It's a decent track. It's better than most things I've done. It's just not as good as any other winning track. It's just very underwhelming for a winning track. However, it is better than the other tracks, and that's why this jam is not that good in my opinion. This one, the theming is kind of generic. I'm not a huge fan of the theme, just because it's kind of just a generic sewer. But the visuals are pretty okay, for the most part, so I will give it that. The track doesn't play that great. It's kind of boring and generic in gameplay, but it plays better than the other tracks, so I have to give the gameplay to this one too. This is just a very underwhelming jam, and even though this track is okay, it's just not a great track in my opinion. This is, even though I consider Twilight to be the worst jam, this is definitely the track that has the worst top placing tracks. Because at least Twilight had some good ones in Starlight Sanctuary, Coastal Trench, which did get disqualified, but it originally won. Starlight Sanctuary did too, and Sundown Streets was pretty good too. But this one, this track, it's kind of a bummer that it won, because it's not a bummer that won. I agree that it should have won. It just really shows how underwhelming this jam is. Alright, that's going to do it for Upstream Raceway by Billy Noodles. That is going to do it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and if you want to see more content, be sure to subscribe and like if you want. I could care less if you do, because I'm not making any revenue. This is just a hobby, but if you want to see more of my content, then be sure to subscribe so you can be aware when it comes out. So yeah, that's gonna do it. I hope to see you guys on the next one. Alright, bye.